to our review of John Wick Chapter 4. I just got back and holy shit, I am fucking hyped up because that film was non-stop action. Action, action, action. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Gun fu, gun kata. Holy shit, I was entertained from start to finish. That's what it's all about. So I was the guy that's like, all right, we need to stop John Wick after chapter 3. Let's wrap it up. Let's get out of that. And they're like, no, we're having so much fun. We're going to make another one. And I was like, all right. There's no way you can top the John Wick this and John Wick that. Holy shit, they fucking topped it. I don't know how they keep bringing the stakes higher and higher. You guys are very low energy, so apparently you don't agree with me. But I'm just going to say my piece. This film was exactly what I fucking wanted. So I'm going to go to John Wick for some high-quality gun kata, kung fu. We have Donnie Yen, who is treated so awesome in this film as a fucking equal. And John, and you know, I'm like, they're never advancing the story. There's this and that. They advance the story here. They fucking kind of resolve what we need to get resolved. You know, John lost his wife, lost the dog, and just is trying to get out of the world. And you feel like it's never going to end. And if it is going to end, he's going to need to fucking earn it. And he fucking earns it by the end of this. The body count, maybe the highest body count in any movie I have ever seen. So I went for fucking nonstop action, and I got nonstop action, and I am highly satisfied. I think you guys need to run out and watch this film. I think it's ridiculously good. Let's go to you guys.
I think it's a good movie. Yeah, I would recommend you go watch it, but with the caveat that it is long. It is a little bit too long for me.
That was another thing I was going to say. I was like, the question is, it's a lot. Is it too much?
I thought
and
so.
I thought, no, you can never have too much. John Wick, you can never have too much of a good thing. So, yes, is the movie long? I think this is the longest of the franchise by far. But if any of them is going to be the longest, it's going to be where it's like, okay, I'm getting out. What do I need to do to get out? Do I need to fucking kill everyone? And they said, yes. And he says, okay, I'm going to kill everyone.
I was still entertained, but like I said, it was still pretty long. They should have trimmed out some of the stuff. I go in there for the craziness, but again, I feel like they did my boy Donnie a little too dirty.
What? Donnie was done justice in this film. Okay, go, shut up. Shut up.
Okay, you didn't have to make him blind. You made him into like a superhero. You made him into Daredevil. You didn't need to do that.
John Wick is a superhero. These are superhero films. If you're expecting realism out of these, you're out of your fucking mind.
None of us are expecting realism.
I know we argued about this in the car.
And I will tell you
these
again,
guys, okay.
We do not, under no circumstance, like they fight him one at a time. Totally fine with it. He doesn't die to bullets. He falls off a car. He's gotten shot 1 million times. I have no problem with any of these things.
Yes.
Okay.
These movies are ridiculous.
You have a problem with the fact that the blind man is doing gun.
There's a degree of ridiculousness
destroying
that is
everyone.
too far, right? Like,
have you ever watched a little fucking show called Daredevil? I believe somebody in a hyper-realistic world, this is clearly not realistic. In a hyper-realistic world of honor, and I'm going to engage you at close range, any one of these motherfuckers are dead with a 50 caliber fucking sniper rifle from a mile away. We get it. John Wick would die instantly if they really want him dead. But it's the rules of this world where, you know, you come right up on people and now you engage in your stupid gun kata, right? I don't think it's stupid. I think it's awesome. And so in that instance, I think that, yes, he has super hearing like Daredevil. He's blind. He can... I agree. I kept thinking to myself, somebody could just be in the bushes, right? And then just be so quiet because there's a few moments in the film where he cannot hear John Wick. So you could just go... pop, and you win, right? But I think in the world, nobody's going to do that because that's not the way it works in this particular world.
I understand that too because, like,
so within 30 yards, you can hear something.
Mr. Nobody had him dead to rights, but then he obviously didn't go for the kill he didn't kill Donnie. And
So you think Donnie was done dirty? He requested this. And Donnie got so much input. Originally, they were going to pigeonhole him into this stereotypical Asian role where he's dressed up in the classic gear, and he's like, "Why? Why do I have to look like that? I want to be a well-dressed, a fucking badass looking." And so he got to do a lot of the input onto his character. And so I think, well, if you're saying Donnie did himself dirty, then he did himself dirty.
Again, I still enjoyed the film, but I don't think it topped the other ones. But it was still an enjoyable film.
You don't think this tops Parabellum, which doesn't solve anything and goes nowhere and does nothing? And I was kind of frustrated by, I thought it was badass too within the John Wick universe. This one solves the thing, and this is the one that y'all fall off on. Yeah. This one has the biggest body count, and this is the cinematography is fucking amazing. The camera comes up and it's like Hotline Miami, where he's going through, and the fucking dragon breath rounds. I had no idea that they could top it, and they fucking topped it. Now after this, there's no fucking way. There is no fucking way that they can top this one. So, and that's why we have an ending that we have, and I think they said, hey, we're taking a break. I don't know if they're going to do a spin-off or they're going to do this, but that John Wick team is so busy. We saw a trailer for Sisu, which looks fucking amazing. I love the fucking finish, and we're getting a fucking finish where they beat up on Nazis. Though I think Finland, weren't they on the German side? I think at least initially, and then they went over. But that movie looks fucking amazing, over the top. And so I'm in for that over the top. And I guess I was in for over the top here, and you guys were in for no, I don't buy it. I want
going in for over the top.
It back.
It's John Wick.
If you were going in for over the top, and you get over the top.
Well, I'm just saying there's degrees of over the top, and there's parts of John Wick that I like. I think the John Wick franchise is excellent. I think this is better than 3 for sure. I don't know.
Better than 3.
It's not better than 1, but there's degrees of ridiculousness that I will allow in an action movie. And this one, there are several times where I'm like, man, even in this universe, fuck you, this is dumb. Okay. And I love these movies. I've always given these movies insane scores. The first one is a 10 out of 10. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. But I even gave 3 a high score because it's like a not. But
were there dumb moments in those movies?
For sure.
Yes, there were.
Yeah,
so there's dumb moments in this movie.
Yeah, and I didn't give the 2 or 3 a 10 out of 10 because they don't deserve it. I'm going back and
looking up our scores. Y'all take it.
So it's just like there's some dumb shit in here. There's parts where he gets captured by a bad guy who wants him dead, and there's a scene where they play cards instead, and then no one does anything. And it's just, if you're gonna have a 3-hour-long movie, it needs to be consistent. And there were scenes that were clearly better than other scenes, and that entire scene in Berlin where they go to this club is just kind of dumb. It's like, dude, you got captured. You're done. It's over. Everything's gone.
No one has any reaction to it, too.
That scene was fucking awesome.
These
motherfuckers must be on drugs because the audience doesn't really react. Though if you look closely, they do start to react.
Yeah, they're like, hey, let's just give them their space.
But hey, man, they're in the world. This is, I don't know, maybe a fucking club for the table, or in that world where they're like, oh god, yet another fight. Yeah. And so they're just like, I don't give a fuck.
Not the dance floor part. The part where he's captured at a poker table, and it's filled with rooms with guns, and he's literally tied up, and they're like, oh, we're all here to kill you, and he's like, oh, cool, and then they just don't because they want to play cards.
But that's a villain thing. We got a Mexican standoff here. You want to kill him, he wants to kill me, I want to kill you. And he's going to motherfucking cheat, and then he cheats, and then we fight. Obviously in this universe, it's like, I want to go up against John Wick and test my skills, and you're going to get fucking shot, and you're going to get killed, and that was your own damn fault. Is being cocky, and this film is filled with that shit. But and somehow now you guys are like, well, I don't like that.
I said it was dumb in Parabellum too. Like there's two brothers that kick the shit out of him, and then they don't do anything to him because they have such high respect to him. And I think that John may have let those guys live, but there's so many opportunities where
apparently I guess maybe my show wasn't around when John Wick 1 came out because I don't have a John Wick 1 review, but we all know that is a 10 out of 10. We all agree that John Wick 1 is a 10 out of 10 because it has the emotional impact. It has, like, he has that motivation. He comes and he feels like the Baba Yaga. And I just think it's a great origin story, revenge story, and just from start to finish, 10 out of 10. And I think that this one is that, but at those ridiculously high stakes that they implied this universe was, right? They implied this in one, and finally when we get to see it all pay off, it's here. But no, I totally understand that it's unrealistic, that it's over the top. That's why I like it so much, because it is those things. And that's fine if you got it was too much for you. That's fine.
It was
too much. Okay, so our chapter 1, we started John Wick at chapter 2. I gave it a 10 out of 10, and then John Wick chapter 3. I think I was between an 8 and a 9. I ended up giving it a 9. So so as you can tell, I think. For John, I'm just going to go right into my final verdict. I'll start. I think John Wick 4 is a 10 out of 10. I think it's a perfect ending to John's story. They said the stakes were going to be ridiculously high to get out of this thing, and it was ridiculously. Yes, he would have been tired. Like, if I had to go up a fourth of the steps that he had to go up at the end of the film, I would have been gassed. But this motherfucker has to take on all these contract killers while he's going up to the steps to make it in time for yet another fight scene and duel. I'd have been tired. Yes, it's unrealistic, but I don't go for realism. I go for pure entertainment sense. And this one, I will admit that the story factor is lower. Okay, you can't beat the story of, oh my God, you killed my fucking dog, like the last connection I had with my wife, and you just started some shit you can't, stop. This one is that, but the gun kata, the action, and the high stakes, and then finally resolving somewhat of what this whole thing has been about is John either taking on the entire fucking table, order, whatever that's called, and getting out, or finding a way to conclude it. It is satisfying in my opinion, without spoilers. So I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 in a different way. Do I think the first film is better? Yes. John Wick 1 is better than this one. But I think that this one is definitely 9-10 territory, no doubt about it. And I'm going to go ahead and, just because I love this series, I cannot believe Keanu Reeves is still going and still doing these high octane. He's like fucking, he's like Tom Cruise and John Wick, or Tom Cruise and Keanu Reeves. Jesus Christ, man, I need to get my ass in the gym. All right, so that's me. Who wants to take it next?
I'm probably going to get shit on, but whatever. The highest I could go is like a 7.
No, you just got to be true to yourself.
I am. I'm going to give it a 7. Like you said, the story is paper thin. We know what he wants to do. We get some resolution. But at the same time, some of the disbelief kind of took me out. And it was kind of long, like the way he went upstairs all the way up top, and then he rolled all the way down. I'm like, oh, God, and this is going to be padding another 30 minutes here.
No.
Again,
no
the table scene.
Careful on spoilers.
It's not really a spoiler. He fell down the stairs. That's not a spoiler.
I know. I just want you to be careful.
Okay. That, and then just like the Berlin stuff kind of like took too long. And just like the length of it. If it would have like tightened it up, maybe I would have given it a point or so. But
I will mention there were a moment in there where I was like, man, is this too much?
Yes.
I was considering it, but I made the decision honestly, because it was at such a high level. You think it was too self-indulgent.
And that's the thing with these movies.
Like, really self-indulgent.
Once you get to the fourth one, yes, I get it. You have to ramp up the action. You got to ramp up all the body counts. You got to do all this stuff. But at the same time, it was a little too much for me. So highest I go is a 7. I
love that fucking all-you-can-eat buffet, man. So that's
fine.
Yeah. Alex.
I like this movie a lot. I really like the John Wick series. I think that the gunplay is super fun. There's a lot of stuff that happens, and I come for ridiculousness. I just think that they took that too far. And there's stuff that I want to. He's indestructible. I got it. He can fall out of a building. I got it. Hit by multiple cars and motorcycles.
And keep going.
Yeah. I have no problem with that. People fight him one-on-one. I get it. Yeah. That's cool. It's so important. And then there's other things in there that just are kind of thrown together where I'm watching a fight that's not necessarily involving him. And I'm going, this is kind of fucking silly to a point that is beyond that little bubble that I give John Wick for ridiculousness. Mm-hmm. Like, I want ridiculousness in some ways, and it went beyond that in other ways. But I think that this movie is much better than the third one. I think it ranks up there with 1 and 2. I'm going to give this one an 8. I think it's a great movie that you should see right now. If you love action movies, have a bunch of beers, and maybe that's my problem. I only had 1 beer. But, like, I think that if you have more beers and...
I had 2 beers.
And if you go out and you watch some of these things and they don't bother you, I think you're going to love this movie. But if they do bother you, I think you may be.
Yeah, I gave it a lot because I was like, you know what? I mean, they're not going to be able to do this world justice and this assassin underground justice if they go with hyper-realism, or not even hyper-realism, just some amount of realism. I was ready for the over-the-top stuff. And so when I saw the over-the-top stuff, like, okay, in previous, John Wick's, then they set up where you get shot in that badass suit, which hurts. Obviously these things don't exist, but I just love that they do, right? Because I want one of them suits. Men look good in suits, but in previously, if you get shot, like, you're gonna be hurt, you're gonna be bruised, you're gonna fall over. John is like shot fucking 70 times in this film,
a lot more than 70 times.
And for me, I liked that. Yeah. Right, but he doesn't, show any. Sometimes he'll do this, but sometimes it just goes, and it's just
half the time he's running around like Dracula because he's using it as a shield. And
but I'm ready for it. Yeah. If the motherfuckers are gonna show up with goddamn BMX gear and skull helmets and stuff, John needs something, and we're up in the ante. Yeah. So 10 out of 10 for me. I can totally see it being too much, but I think to resolve it all, it needed to have some ridiculousness, and I was able to just swallow it easier. Now, story, again, paper thin. I agree with you, paper thin, but I liked the supporting characters. I liked what happens with New York, what happens in Japan, his friends kind of going in, like, why would you help John? Well, not everything is about markers. I liked Donnie Yen as a supporting character. The villain, I mean, it would be cool to see, like, if he was motherfucking, super on John Wick's level, but we get that in a Donnie Yen, and he hires the guy. You've seen it in the trailers, like, this is my guy. So, I just very much enjoyed it. And I think you should go out and see it. It's one of those films you can have a lot of fun with and take your buddies and drink beers. And
another thing, too, I needed more Lance.
Lance?
Oh.
Yeah, so we do got to talk about that. This is one of his last films. Not his last film, but one of them. Oh, we'll talk about it in spoilers. Yeah, so, that would have been cool. Yeah. But we did get Lance in 3 a lot, and that was cool, and I liked that. A really good time, in my opinion. This is one you should go out and see. Now, little tip for you, go to the bathroom before, because it's 2 hours and 49 minutes, and it never stops. It never lets up. There's never a moment you can leave.
I tried holding it. I was like, I went once.
Yeah, we went with a group we were with. They had to go to the bathroom twice. Joe went to the bathroom once. I was like, man, I'm
he only
getting
had
through
one
it.
beer, so
He didn't go to the bathroom.
I never go during a movie.
And I'm like, fuck.
3 hours
and then
long.
when we get to the steps, I'm like, and I maintained it until the end. So, but I wish I didn't. So make sure you go to the bathroom beforehand, because there's really not a moment to breathe. All right. That's going to be it for this, a short little review, and we'll go into the spoiler section next. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show.